Hi everyone, my name is Sophia and this is my colleague Asul. And today is an amazing day, amazing Tuesday, as we have a special guest for our next Ask the Expert podcast. Please welcome Krusha Sahjwani Malkani. She's the director and head of Asia at Sociable, and it's an employee advocacy software. And moreover, Krusha is a LinkedIn top voice of 2022. So, hi, Krusha. Thank you so much for joining us today. It means a lot for us, and we were really looking forward to our chat. So, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. And you pronounce my entire name perfectly. That's already a
Perfect.
lot. It's a long
Yeah.
name.
So for today, we prepared, not the ordinary type of our question, but it's something about best practice on LinkedIn. And as I already mentioned in our DM with you, Krusha, I've been following you for a long period of time, and I always noticed that your audience engagement is extremely high. You have a very active and involved community on your LinkedIn page. So could you please share with us what is the key of success? Could you maybe share 5 tips how to create a strong, and I think it's very important and even more important, how to create an active community around your page. So could you please share your experience, because I think it would be really useful and insightful for all of us.
Sure. Firstly, I'm grateful. I'm always happy to hear that, someone's been following and liking the content. It always means a lot. Okay, 5 tips. I'm going to speak something I do. I'm an ICF certified life and career coach. It's something I do every day, and so my mind works a lot in the coaching side of it. So I'm going to use the same philosophy here because I think it applies to pretty much any goals. I work with clients on different types of goals, and some of them are even personal branding. And the first thing that's really important is knowing why you're doing it, because I think while it sounds like maybe not one of those practical tips and it's a little philosophical, it's really important because it's what keeps you going. Because
Mhm.
if you just hear the word personal branding, or you hear you have to start writing on LinkedIn today, great, it's true, but what does it mean to you? At some point, you're going to reach burnout, because from the day you start writing, you're not going to be getting 100 likes every day. Or even if you've been writing for 2 years, you're going to have days or even weeks where maybe some content isn't performing. And if you don't know why you're doing it, it's really hard for anybody to stick to it. So I'd say that's the first tip. If there's anything you do, just figure out why you're doing it. Are you doing it because you like to write? Are you doing it because you need a new job at some point? Are you doing it because you run a business and you want to get leads? It's very different based on your why. So that's my biggest tip. After that, if we go into practical tips, I'll just leave a few that come to mind.
Okay.
Maybe one is something that's always worked for me is authenticity. So I post about truly what's on my mind in a format that's very unfiltered, and that seems to work, and I'm grateful it does because it also in a way takes less effort. Maybe sometimes in the beginning it might take more, but eventually it's less effort because you're just posting what's on your mind, albeit with some editing, but you're just posting what's on your mind. And that works for me with my videos as well. They're very unfiltered. So I'd say that, because at the end of the day, for example, okay, everyone's talking about chat gpt, you want to post about that, but what do you have to say about it that is different, that I want to think about it? Did something happen in your day that made you laugh because you thought of what that would apply to? That's what I'm trying to say, that at the end of the day, you need to have a unique voice, which can only happen if you're being authentic. If you're just copying and editing someone else's post, or you're just always only talking about what's trending, uh, it's not going to help after a point, is what I think in my experience so far. So I'd say that's another big one. And of course, if you're trying to build something where the engagement matters to you, then you have to show up. It is true, at
Mhm.
the end of the day, it is an algorithm. So if you post one day and then you don't post for a month, and then again you just post for a day, when you're just starting to build, it will not work. So you do have to be consistent. That doesn't mean you have to show up every day no matter what and just post anything. You can choose what consistency means to you, but
Mhm.
whether it's once a week, whether it's even once in 2 weeks, but then continue doing that. So I think that is something that helps as well. Yeah, I think those are the ones. And yeah, for me, my comment section is my favorite section on LinkedIn, even on my posts. So if you even see my posts, sometimes the reach isn't always crazy high. It's not like the
Yes,
reach is,
yes.
super high, but I always get my comments, and that means everything to me. So it's okay if the post hasn't got as much of a reach because of maybe the algorithm or the number of likes, but the ones who've seen it post quality comments, and I always make sure I respond. And I think that for me is a big takeaway.
Yeah, it's very important to show the your I mean your feedback and reply to comments and show the attendance and engagement as well. Yeah, absolutely agree with you.
Comments over likes, right?
100%. If you ask me, I think comments for sure, because even, and I think it's very important more so today. So LinkedIn used to be a very text platform, right? It's actually what got me to LinkedIn, because I love writing. I'm always a writer at heart, and LinkedIn was the one platform where the algorithm kind of supported that. As long as you were writing quality content, it's okay if it didn't have music on it, or like it wasn't edited, it didn't need all that. Of course, now, because the world of content is in general getting more visual, even LinkedIn responds better to pictures or to videos. And I think it's very easy to put up a picture and get likes, even
Hmm.
maybe to an extent. I don't think it works long term if it doesn't have good content, but maybe, in the beginning. So when you get quality comments, it's when you know that it's about what the content is. And I think that's what helps last. So definitely comments over likes for me.
And I want to ask you about, do you have experience to work with some influencers on LinkedIn? So it's like a cooperation or collaboration.
Yeah, definitely. So I was lucky last year. LinkedIn ran a cohort like LeCap, and it was the first one in India,
Hmm.
and they had 200 people chosen all over the country, 200 creators on LinkedIn. I was lucky to be one of them, and because of that, I met 199 other amazing creators that I'm still in touch with, and we have a group. So we talk. I've attended a lot of people's audio events, and we've done a few collaborations here and there. I'd love to do more. Of course, this has all happened from LeCap to now over the last year, with pregnancy and and having a child. So getting out there and going for the meetups, etc., physically has not been as possible for me. But I'm definitely in touch, and I'm sure we'll be doing a lot more. So to just even name, there's Jatin. I get on his audio podcasts a lot.
Hmm.
There's Sampark. If you find him, he's a top voice as well, and he's been one of the OGs on LinkedIn for a long time. So I learn a lot from him. But yeah, I think it's super fun. One of the best things about LinkedIn is also being able to meet quality other creators from different genres, because even the LeCap had people had to submit a project. So someone was talking about inclusivity, someone was representing the transgender community, someone was talking about tech, somebody else was talking about just reading books.
Hmm.
Like that was their thing. So there were so many different experts, as you would call it, and I think that's been really enriching.
Oh, sounds
Great.
so great. Yeah. Uh, Actually, can we go back one step? Because I have one question very important for me.
Sure.
When you were talking about comments, um, do you have any tips what to do when you receive a negative comment? From a hater or something like that. Is it better to delete it or ignore it or answer?
That's a great question. And when you were just talking about having being part of the creator community, it's a topic we discuss sometimes, because whenever someone faces it, they'll kind of share it and ask each other what's the best way to probably tackle it. I'd say first, for me, I'm very grateful. I rarely see it, probably also because my content itself, like as a coach, for a life and career coach, it's very about positivity and about more. I think there's very little you can say to that that is probably controversial. I get some comments because I talk a lot about gender equity, and sometimes those are the posts that will get a comment here and there that maybe isn't the best. So I can tell you what I do. I don't know if it's the best strategy. I usually respond once. So I respond once. I make sure that my tone of voice is not negative. It's I'm being kind while still stating my point, like still being assertive about what was said. Uh, After that, sometimes the person meets you halfway and has agreed and ends well, and that's great because you had what I'd like to think as a productive debate or discussion. But sometimes some people just comment negatively or to get attention or whatever it is, and in that case, if there's another comment back, I don't waste time, then I just leave it. I don't delete it. I have nothing to hide there, and usually I feel like it makes that person look bad, not you at that point.
Mhm.
So I don't delete it, but I don't respond again. So it takes a lot of energy in general to create content. I don't want to waste time on that.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
don't you even block the person? So just leave it alone.
I'd say I've not had an experience where it's reached a point where
Okay.
it's bothered me to that extent where someone's extensively going out of their way after the second comment that I've ignored to keep commenting
Mm-hmm.
or get my attention again. Maybe at that point I would recommend blocking the person, because then they're just
Mhm.
infiltrating your mental health or just ruining your community vibe over there. But usually when I stop responding they stop as well, so I haven't reached the blocking point.
Thank you so much for your answer.
Yeah, I love your approach in this matter because I think it can help people, to fight with the imposter syndrome. And yeah, a lot of people are afraid that they will post something, they will receive a negative comment that will make them look bad. But it actually, the negative comment makes look bad the person who
Exactly.
wrote it, not the author. Yeah.
Exactly. And also, on that, I think just this whole thing of overthinking before posting. Obviously, we should think before we post. It just helps for everyone to have good content out there. But overthinking doesn't help. We overestimate how many people are going to look at posts when we just start. It's not so many to begin with in general, and everyone's so, it's like in life, everyone's so focused on their own problems and that
Yeah.
mark on their face, or when you get into a room, no one's thinking about what is wrong with what you said. So most of the time I think overthinking doesn't help.
Definitely. Okay, thank you, Krusha. I think there have been a lot of useful tips, and I hope everyone who's watching us will follow them and find something interesting. Also, I ask you to follow Krusha's page, to follow our page, like Krusha's post and our video. And thanks for watching us, guys.